herbalist, keeping you aligned. Wake up, stretch out, it's a brand new day. Sun shining in, keep the blues at bay. Tune in at 7, feel the vibe hit right. Danny's dropping knowledge, bringing wisdom to light. Herbs in the air, you can breathe in the flow. Your health is your wealth, let your spirit grow. From teas to the greens, he's got that remedy. Transforming lives, let's call it a symphony. Wellness Wednesdays, turn your mindset around. On WHCR, you hear the truth profound. Danny's got the secrets, gonna elevate your mood. Health is your wealth, feel the gratitude. Mind, body, soul, we're a trifecta. Danny breaks it down, always goes deeper. Nutrition tips, meditation and breathe. Each week a new guest, inspiring finesse. Community focus, we rise together. Stay engaged, make moves like birds of a feather. Tune in, don't miss it, the vibe is
I'd love to hear it. Let's go.
Once again, back is the incredible Whcr 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem.
Yeah, so we're on WHCR 90.3 FM. It's your boy, the People's Herbalist, on the People's Healing Hour. We're talking about parasites. And I wanted to share something that was a little counterintuitive to what everybody is looking at parasites as these evil entities that take over our bodies, that steal our resources, that cause all kinds of other ailments, sicknesses, and diseases. But parasites are living creatures, right? They are part of this earth, and they have places and purposes. And sometimes when you disrupt ecosystems internally, then it is driving them to come and save the day, which is a terrain theory based understanding, but it is a good point of emphasis so we don't automatically demonize what we don't fully understand. And I was listening to the British broadcast channel, and they had a nice breakdown of how parasitic worms can evade the host's immune function and why that is. So it's a really good point, and I want to kind of jump into this.
A bacterial gut infection will often cause diarrhea and stomach pains, and yet I feel nothing. To find out why, I met up with Helena Helmby, who studies how worms interact with our immune system. So you have a very fine collection of worms here. I mean, some of them I recognise, tapeworm. This one I'm less familiar with.
This is the Ascaris. This is the large
very long worm.
The thing that puzzles me is how do these worms evade the human immune system? Because, I mean, some of them are huge.
Yes. And we have a very, very sophisticated immune system, which is constantly on watch, guarding against any microorganism 24/7. But these large parasites have actually developed a very sophisticated way of dealing with our immune system, because they have evolved with us for thousands, if not millions of years.
The worms have evolved mechanisms to dampen down our immune responses by secreting compounds that manipulate our immune system. That enables the worms to survive, but may also have benefits for us.
The worms are allowed to stay because the immune system realizes that the attack to kill them would be far too dangerous, really, for the host. Obviously, you don't want a massive inflammatory response in your intestine, because that would cause a lot of damage to your intestine, and that would be dangerous for you as a host. So there's some sort of an uneasy truce between the worm and the host in this case.
It is extraordinary, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely fantastic.
You're a fan.
Yeah, so they're talking about how parasites can invade your body, get inside of your intestines, and then secrete molecules that diminish or weaken your immune response to them. Now, this is a really interesting concept, and this doctor, she believes that there is some reality to show that the molecules that parasites can produce inside of our gut can help alleviate some issues that are associated with autoimmune conditions by finding balance within our immune response. Now, this is a concept that is a little left. I didn't think about this, but I feel like it is an important aspect, because over all of the years that human beings have been on this planet, the parasites, the worms, have been here for far longer. And they have had a relationship with all living things, animals, the soil, the humans, the mammals, the fish, the reptiles, the birds. There's always some type of relationship. Now, we assume that there's nothing positive that happens from this. And I mean, if you got parasitic infections and symptoms of that, then you're like, hey, nah, there ain't nothing good coming from this parasite in me. But there is balance in our ecosystems. And I always like to highlight that, because we look at our bodies as if, there's just a simple or like one organism, but we live with a host of many, many different organisms in our bodies, from the cells, from the bacteria, from the fungi. There are so many different things inside of our microbiome. It would be a little disingenuous to think that parasites aren't living amongst these other organisms in some type of harmony. And when there is excess toxins, when there's microplastics, when there's pesticides and herbicides, and there's all these other toxic loads, then that's usually the root cause of most of disease progressions. So I like to look at it, and based on some evidence, there seems to be a reality in which parasites can accumulate toxins like heavy metals, microplastics. They can essentially sequester these things and have a far high. Let's say you have a human being who has these toxicities, and then they also have parasites. And then you look at the concentration of the toxicity of the parasite inside the person versus the concentration of the toxins inside that person. You will see the parasites have a far higher concentration of the heavy metals, the microplastics, those chemicals that are clearly hurting us and not really hurting the parasite, which seems as if the parasite is thriving off that. And I know that this is not a reality in which parasites are here to save us, but it is a point of emphasis because they have detoxification processes, or I should say removal processes of different toxins. And sometimes our bodies just can't get with it. Our bodies are not able to get rid of these things, but the parasites can. And then the parasites build up, and then sicknesses occur, and then we are automatically associated with the parasites. And that might not necessarily be true. You could have developed the sickness and the illness without having the parasites, just because of all of the toxicity that we've had and accumulated over time. So that's a really interesting concept that I think should be explored more. We should look at how parasites can, at least some of the mechanisms of how parasites behave in the body can have maybe a therapeutic effect down the line if we can identify some of those mechanisms in which they can help immune responses not be so aggressive. And this in particular, we're talking about like autoimmune conditions. So I know that there's papers. I read some papers that showed that lead, mercury, cadmium, arsenic, excessive amounts of copper, chemical pollutants, microplastics, they could all be absorbed by certain parasites. So if we have a toxic environment, and then we have parasites in that toxic environment, man, we have a double trouble. But maybe the trouble is not adding, maybe it is subtracting. We just don't know. And I feel like it's a place that we can explore. But parasites are they're not necessarily always the bad guy. So I do want to invite y'all again, call in 212-650-6903. Tell us, have you heard messages about parasites that drove you to get a parasite cleanse? And what was that parasite cleanse like? I really want to know people's experiences. I've heard different things. There's something called a Whcr effect. And the Whcr effect is essentially where you're doing some type of detox, and the toxins from that detox are stuck in your body. And you're saying it's a detox, but it's killing off certain things, killing off certain pathogens. And those pathogens then are now dead and breaking apart and leaving those debris inside your bloodstream, and your kidneys and liver is not filtering it correctly. And then you just have basically some really filthy blood, which causes a lot more illnesses and symptoms. And that's an effect that can happen if you do a strong parasite cleanse or any type of detox without supporting the detox pathways, killing things off, antimicrobials, antibiotics, anti anything. That means antimicrobial means against the life. So you're killing things. And if you're killing things, there's going to be remnants of those dead things. And if those dead thing remnants are still circulating through your bloodstream and your lymphatic fluid and in your brain tissue, then you're going to feel like crap. You're going to feel like trash, and you're going to be worse off than just having those toxins or microbes accumulated in one space. And that's never what you want. You never want to do something to heal and then get worse from it. That is rule number one as a herbalist. We want to make sure that we're providing very safe and very efficient ways for our bodies to heal and repair itself. That's why I love adaptogens. Y'all know I talk about adaptogens all the time. These are the class of herbs that help reduce stress. And depending on which herb, it will help support certain organ systems. Like, for example, reishi is good for liver, kidney. Goji berry has some great intestinal benefits. And then we have cordyceps is supporting the lung function. Like, so you have adaptogens that all reduce stress, but then also support organ systems and then help with immune function and regulation. Bringing balance is the key for these herbs that are called adaptogens. And I love them. And I think that they should be added into any protocol that involves detoxification, because if you detox, like I said, if you detox without having resiliency and support for those organs to get rid of whatever it is that you're trying to remove efficiently, then you can set yourself up for failure, for bad news. And we don't want that. You never, ever, ever want to have toxic buildup from the things that are inside your body that you're trying to remove. So that is a major key. So we want to talk about some of these symptoms. And I think having a conversation about symptoms, number one is twofold, because the symptom list for parasitic infections is so long. It is so vast that you will immediately think right now that you got parasites. So please do not allow me to read this list of symptoms off from my mind and implant a fear inside of your mind. Do not allow this to be fear-based. But there are a lot of symptoms that can come from this, that go from fatigue, brain fog, digestive issues, skin problems, mood changes, poor sleep, incredible cravings for sugary treats, nutrient deficiencies like low iron and anemia, grinding of your teeth at nighttime. There's a lot of symptoms, and a lot of those symptoms are associated and attributed to parasites, but they also have other core or baseline root causes that can have those same symptoms. So if you do having those things and you've gone through a lot of different tests and you have not had any specific answers that give you clarity on what your issue is, then it really might be time to get a parasite test, a stool sample. There's multiple ways to do it. Not all of them are very, very accurate, but at least you can get a baseline when all else has failed and nothing else seems to be on the docket of the cause of those symptoms for you. But yeah, there are many different overlapping symptoms that can be associated with parasites. So I always like to say, if you're not testing, you're guessing. I got that from my buddy, Dr. Brad Campbell, which I'm excited because I'm going to talk to him pretty soon on Friday. Dr. Brad Campbell is a friend of mine, but, a very, very interesting and intelligent and thoughtful doctor with multiple degrees. So I like talking to doctors. If y'all don't know that already, I love talking to smart people so I can build my knowledge base and share this information on the radio, Whcr 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. It is essential that we share knowledge.
Come on. Yeah. You're listening to WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem.
Yeah. So, talking to doctors, having conversations with physicians in many capacities and experts in the field is what I love to do and what I think I do pretty well. And bringing this information straight to the people so y'all can understand it in a way that you can improve your life. And that's what we're here to do on the People's Healing Hour. So 212-650-6903. If y'all want to share those stories about your detox processes, if you've bought products and tried products, you're going to endorse a product, you can do that too. We just don't sell anything on this radio station. This is a non-profit radio station. If you find value in what we provide here, please go to whcr.org and make a donation. It goes a long way, so I can continue to bring these informations and herbs on the airways through Harlem and beyond. It's very exciting because this is knowledge that has once been hidden. I remember not knowing anything about this as a kid. Ain't nobody talked to me about wellness and holistic health and parasites and all that good stuff when I was younger. So when I have this opportunity to share, this goes to all ages, from our elders to our children, learning about the things that keep us healthy and then learning about the things that can be hazardous and risky, and then having some expert opinions and knowledge to know risk, rewards, and ratios and what you should be worried about and what you should not have overly excessive stress about. And this is why I wanted to talk about parasites today, because I think it might be a place for excessive stress and a lot of fear. And honestly, when you think about the numbers, it's like 500 million people in the world right now that got hookworms. And that's just one parasite. And they're not even the most abundant parasites. The worms are the ones that we know most commonly and see and visualize when we think about parasites. I don't know if you ever seen the parasitic infection of the bear, but there's like bears that eat salmon and they get these very long round worms that hang out of their booties. Because an intestinal worm that just continues to grow and grow and grow, and bears don't have detox protocols, so the worm will get so big it just exit right out of his butt, and it'd be like meters long. It's disgusting, but it's not as common for people to have those huge worms. It's not impossible. I'm talking about here in America. Like, I know it gets pretty tricky, and I know sometimes I hear this a lot in the medical jargon where people will talk about global aspects and global stats to justify things here in America. But here in America, it's not as common as you would think. Oh, man, we got a caller. Hold on one second. Let's get my call on here. Peace, Grand Rising. You're live on the radio. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Mama June calling from South Kakalaki. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
You are talking about you talk about my thing, microbiology in the body.
Oh yes.
Now I got something to say this morning about that.
Let's go.
I'm not gonna put a lot of people on blast, but for a detox, I had an experience, especially with the weight. Oh, I want to get detox, just get myself cleaned up. I took a specific tea, and I followed the instructions how I felt I should follow it. I wound up in the hospital. My blood pressure was like 201 over 104. They were trying to draw blood from me, and they weren't able to because my blood was so thick. And they're asking me, where's my high blood pressure medication? And I'm like, I don't know what y'all talking about. I'm supposed to be healthy. But it was that I was getting ready to say it, but it was that particular tea. What it did, it detoxified me, but it pulled everything out. And with it pulling everything out, the good and the bad, there was nothing to replenish my nutrients and all the other things that the parasites and everything in your body that normally lives there needs to survive. And I learned from that experience, you have to be careful about what you putting in your system. And when it says detox, you're getting ready to mess up a natural flow in your body, and it will lead you worse than what you actually are feeling at that moment. So we got to be real careful about that.
You are absolutely right. And I'm sorry that you had to go through that experience. And that was one of the points I was making earlier about these effects of when you detox and you're killing things, but they're still stuck in your body, and you're having more toxic load, but you're not having the removal, you're not having the binders that are necessary to scoop up these leftovers after the death by phytonutrient to all of the microbes, and then what they leave over, the waste products that they leave over. That is exactly how you can feel the way that you feel. It's it's a crazy thing. So you don't want to blow them up, you don't want to put them on blast. Well, you should do that. You should at least mention
You know
it.
what?
It might not be everybody's experience.
It was my fault. It was my fault because I was looking at the price. All right, because a lot of these things, they're very pricey. And you're like, okay, well, I really can't afford this, but I'm going to take this because that detox, that's what gets you drawn in. So
Right.
it was ISOT. However, when you get that package, you are supposed to get nutrients that go with it because it comes together. Okay.
Yes.
I did not get the vitamin pack that went with it. I got the tea, and I'm just sipping this tea thinking everything is all good, dropping some weight, and not a lot of weight, but I was not as bloated. Okay. And yeah, if I would have took that vitamin that actually went with it, which was basically expensive, I'm pretty sure I would have had a better outcome. But I did not. And that goes with trying to play doctor without a license. Just the experiment. And we have to be very, very careful. So if y'all out there getting at that ISOT by Total Life Changes, that's the company. The products are, I gotta admit, the products are all right because I've seen the effects that it had on other people. However, you have to take it as it is described. Whatever products come together, get both of them. Or just don't do it at all, or do the natural means. Watch what you're putting in your mouth, because the majority of the time, our bodies are capable of healing themselves. And we eat all of this other stuff, me included, because I be in there messing up too. But we're eating all of these other things, highly processed, genetically modified. They taste good, but when they get into the body, they're genetically modified. So what do you think they're doing to your body on the inside? They're genetically modifying the natural biomes in your system. And then when you start eating that stuff, next thing, oh, my head hurt, my pressure up. Oh, pray for me, warriors. I'm in a hospital because diabetes and stuff. This is it. It's actually what we're doing to ourselves by putting this stuff in our system and expecting different results. Because anything that you take in, it's going to get fed. When you feed your microbiome, it goes to the bathroom. And those toxins stay within your body. That's just like the food. You got foodborne disease, foodborne illnesses. Then you do the foodborne intoxications. It's like it's either the parasite or whatever micro. If that's not doing damage to you, then their poop is. So you got a lot of stuff going on. That's why it's like the body is complex. It is beautiful. I mean, we can heal ourselves. However, we have to put the right stuff in at the right time. And it takes a lot.
Right stuff at the right time is the key. And just like you said, there's so many different organisms that live inside of us. We are a universe of microbes. And parasites happen to be a microbe that is part of our universe in many instances. And we talked about the worms, but there are other small protozoa that are parasitic, and that usually comes from dirty water, uncleaned water, and those did you realize that categorically parasites are the most abundant living organism on the planet? Based on, there's different forms and there's different sizes, and there's parasites inside of parasites, there's parasites inside of bacteria, there's parasites inside of people, parasites inside of animals. So there's so much abundance of parasitic relationships in nature. It's actually stunning to realize, like, they got freeloaders. These guys over here taking they taking residence, squatters in your body. But yeah, there's so many different types, and we got this food safety background. So on many levels, it feels like that is the genesis of most of the parasitic infections. I'm trying to think of, besides if you're like a nature person, or you're out in the woods, nomad, and you're living by rivers and you're drinking out of streams. If that's your life, then yeah, you're definitely open for parasites. If you travel to third world countries and you're on missions with your churches and you're doing all this stuff to help people, and you're in places where parasitic infections are higher, then yeah, you have a good chance. But outside of that, it's the food. Like it's the food that we're ingesting that allows parasites to get right into our system. And if we're not cleansing our hands, and because that's poopy.
Number one.
Number two. number two is the number one reason.
Hand washing. And I tell people that hand wash. When you go to the bathroom and you out in public, as soon as you walk in that bathroom, you better wash your hands. Then you go to the bathroom. Then when you finish doing what you got to do, wash your hands again. Don't be touching stuff. Because the one thing they got, there's hepatitis A, E. coli, Shigella, Salmonella, norovirus. Those are the major 5 that take people out. And a lot of that, where does it come from? The majority of them comes from not washing your hands, and because your hands are soiled. It's in the soil. It's in the dirt. You got E. coli. You got it in your belly. You got a species of it living inside your intestines. Even Shigella is there. It does what it needs to do. Okay, because it don't make you sick. It's living in that gut and doing whatever it needs to do, helping, being a host to others and killing off some other stuff. But it stays there and it doesn't bother anybody. But the minute that you go to the bathroom and you defecate and you don't wash your hands, guess what? That's going back into your mouth. That's when you get sick. And it's crazy because it's like, if you're living inside my body and you're not making me sick, how is it that when I put it in my mouth, you already living in my body? It should be good, right? No.
And the lifestyle
Amazing.
and the transmission ways of parasites that go through this process of infecting their host, it's so vast, and every parasite has a different mechanism. They're like these MacGyvers on how to survive. It's crazy. Like, they'll be, all right, they just living in you and they're not doing anything. A lot of people are just asymptomatic with parasitic infections because the parasite doesn't want you to know that it's there. It just wants to live its life. And how it gets out of there, and then it's going to lay eggs, and the eggs will be in your poop for humans. And that's honestly the same thing with a lot of animals as well. And we have some parasites that truly take over the nervous system of different insects. These are the fungal parasites, the ones that the zombie caterpillars, like cordyceps itself. Cordyceps is a fungi that is parasitic that comes out of insects. The spores get on the insect, they grow within the insect, tap into its nervous system, and then leads it to a place where it is most viable for that spore to then spread and parasitize something else. And it just happens how even in the water, right? There's small little microbes that eat the parasitic eggs that then get eaten by a bigger microbe, then get eaten by a shrimp, and then it gets eaten by a fish, and then, eventually it makes its way into a person. So it's very
Mhm.
interesting on how they go through these stages to survive. And they've been evolving for, longer than we have. And they've been here and they will consistently be here. And, they've been, now it's interesting because outside of the human body, we don't want parasites in our body for the most part because they do steal. They take away nutrients and
Mhm.
they cause havoc and dysbiosis. But outside in the environment, they're using parasites to sequester toxic heavy metals and forever chemicals and other things out from the environment. So it seems like
Mhm.
parasites, they're called bioaccumulators, where they will accumulate certain things in the environment. And then also the fungi, they do the same thing where they're starting to break down some of these chemicals and carbon products, plastics even, and creating
Mhm.
a healthier environment. So I wanted to give the people a different perspective as looking at this as, not just the automatic enemy based on all of the videos that we are watching right now. We go on YouTube,
Mhm.
Instagram, type in parasites. You're not going to see anything favorable. You're going to hear cleanse, 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 clove, clove,
Yep.
clove, wormwood, garlic, black walnut, oil of oregano. You need it now.
Mhm.
Detox, detox, detox. And there's a lot of truth to this. It definitely works. And there are, from my perspective, there's some overlapping things that happens where we are taking herbs that are extremely supportive of immune function, and
Mhm.
that is, half of the battle. But then when we don't have those detox supporting herbs like the adaptogens, which I cannot stress enough how important it is to add adaptogenic herbs
Mhm.
into any protocol, whether it be weight loss, whether it be parasitic detox, whether it be gut health detox, whether it be weight loss, gain, anything in between. If you're going to put your body through stressful scenarios in which you are making changes, adaptogens help
Mhm.
your body to change a lot easier. So having some type of adaptogenic herbal protocol involved in your process is paramount. And especially when you have adaptogens with high nutrient profiles like goji berry
Mhm.
and shilajit. These
Mm.
are very, very important tools that we can use to help us while we're, going through these healing processes. You can't every day
Right.
and every way, we're always healing. Sometimes we're
You
healing at
know,
a
you
lesser
said
capacity.
something.
Mhm.
Now the thing is that with what it's like we. When I say we, I say it generally. We get to a stage to where we're sick, and when we're not feeling good, and when we're not feeling good, the damage has already been done. And then we look for some quick fixes. Oh, well, let me take this, let me take that. And when you are sick, your decisions are shook. Because I remember you saying that a while ago. Your decisions are shook when you are not stable. And you're absolutely right. When your body's not stable, and it affects your mind, your decisions and everything. And we look for quick fixes, and that's not the key, because a quick fix is going to send your body spiraling into something else. As I keep, convincing myself, and I say this every day, my mantra, the body is capable of healing itself. You put the right stuff in at the right time. All right. And it's like, it's not that, well, I'm going to take this. Like I used to before eat all of this stuff that I know I'm not supposed to eat because I break out, and I'm going to take some Benadryl. It's like, come on. When your body reacts to something, it means that you wasn't supposed to have something that didn't belong in here. And if you look at how our bodies are situated and, the animals, how we're out in our environment, what we need is already growing. We don't have to technically cook it or anything. We just eat it. And if we do, like indigenous, yeah, they real healthy. You see them. I mean, they eat off the ground. Even what they call our primates. If you watch them, they are strong. They are healthy, and they eat. They don't process their food. They just eat it, and they are healthy. So it's like it's just the way that we're at now. Everybody's trying to make some money off of some quick schemes and stuff. People are addicted to so much that your decisions are bad. You start spiraling, and then you get sick, and then you get a lot of people in like, hey, something's going on. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to the doctor, and you figure the doctor's supposed to be God and have all the cures and stuff. But I am so happy that you're talking about these parasites, about these detox and stuff, to let the people know that, hey, the first thing is education. You got to know about your body, because a lot of people don't, and they don't really teach this in school, the basics, So I appreciate you talking about these parasites. Hopefully nobody will get into a point to where they do something and they're going to, detox their body to the point of death. And that's the one thing that you don't want. So big ups to the people's herbalists and them adaptogens and talking about things that people don't want to talk about.
Oh yeah, I appreciate you. And it is really important, man. We don't want to hurt ourselves. We don't want to damage our bodies by trying to heal our bodies. That is a paramount goal. And, we have these infections, we have symptoms that are classified as potentially parasitic, and there's a trend on parasites and detoxes. We want to make sure that we understand our body, what parasites are, how they roll, how they behave, what are the different types, understanding that there's potentials to have tests, because if you're not testing, you're guessing. And that's a straight up fact. And you can't just assume that you have a parasite. And if you do assume that you have a parasite, you can't assume which parasite you have. And there's different, processes for how they replicate and how the eggs process. It's so many different things. And we want to make sure that we have the adequate information before we start throwing herbs and anything at our bodies without a true understanding of what we're trying to accomplish. And that's my goal, bringing this and demystifying these things. And shout out to everybody who takes their health into their own hands and that wants to make changes, that wants to get better, that wants to explore the holistic route and not rely on pharmaceutical interventions all the time. And these people are, I think, very important, but also very at risk for some predatory, fear-based campaigns that may overly express the reality of parasitic infections. And that's my goal here, to bring some middle of the road understandings. I'm an herbalist. I do understand that there's a lot of herbs that are really useful for detoxing parasites. I do understand that there's a significant amount of people that do also actually really do have parasites, but I don't think it's at the number to where where the demand is for the detoxes. I don't think the number of parasitic infections are matching that. And if we're like I said, if we're not testing, we're guessing. And taking herbs is not a bad thing. Taking herbs and being consistent is a great thing. But it seems if you want to get the best results, you have to do a detox for at least 30 days. You got to do at least a 30-day detox and make sure you're taking all the parts of it so you don't put yourself in the hospital for nutrient depletion. And make sure that you are not just removing or killing the parasite, but you're also removing the eggs. And then you're also helping the detox organs get rid of the debris that's left over from those dying entities in your body. So it's a road that we can all explore, that we all need to take heed to. And honestly, if y'all want more information, y'all can always reach out to me on the peoplesherbalist.com. We have a message selection where you can get a consultation, or you can honestly just simply get more information just by asking questions. That is the key.
Hmm.
Questions and knowledge will set you
Thank
free.
you.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you for those adaptogenic herbs, because I live by those. Because I tell people, I was like, look, these are my herbs, okay? People's herbalist. I was like, these are adaptogenic herbs. Whatever's going on in your body is different from mine. We're going to take the same thing, but you're going to get affected. You know, your effect is going to be different from mine. Okay. But this is going to calm your body down so your body can chill, so it can do its job, because it's stress. So thank you for the adaptogenic herbs. And the other thing I got to holler at is, thank you for out in the public, because I know you're going to be giving out some groceries to some families, and I'm not going to be there, and I'm going to be mad because of the fact that the airplanes are too expensive. But good job on feeding you already healed the block with the event. You had your Mr. Lloyd. Oh my goodness, I'm still tripping out on that last show. I love that man. Woo! And now you getting ready to give out some groceries to the family. Big ups to all of y'all behind this. We are appreciative, and thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate you. Yeah, I can't wait. I'll tell you all about it when we get done after today's community food drive. But yeah, this is to let everybody else know. Y'all might not know this, but today we are giving away 200 boxes of a week supply of food for the community out in Newark. In association with the Boys and Girls Club. So 1 Avon Avenue, while supplies last, these are enormously large food boxes, up to like 40 pounds each. And they have some really good food. It's from the Amish community. So this is it's a joy to be able to do great things for the people, supporting the people. I'm a man of the people, and that's what you got to do in order to be the change that you want to see in the future. There's a lot of problems, but there's a lot of good people out here, and we need to make sure that we are supporting and letting our good works be out there for the folks to see and be inspired by. So, Mama, I appreciate you for being on with me and
Thank
calling
you,
in.
thank you, thank you,
All right.
thank you. And to everybody out there listening now, and the ones that's going to catch it later, guess what? You are loved, and go out there and be prosperous. I'm sending positive energy, and I'm going to be doing a Reiki session in about 5 minutes. So be prepared to receive the energy. God bless, and have a good one.
Oh man, y'all don't know. That woman right there is special. And I'm glad y'all got to get some good energy, and y'all about to receive this Reiki energy through the airways. But make sure y'all protect your peace, continue to ask questions, honor your roots, and don't let the poison get you. All right, be prepared and heal well. We'll holla at you next time.